Okay. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 9:36. In accordance with the requirements of open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast over Lunenburg Public Access Channel. The meeting will be available on Lunenburg Public Access YouTube channel within 24 hours. All right. Are there any announcements? I have one. I sent you, I hope you all got it, the notice from Governor Healy about the meeting tonight about affordable energy. You had to have registered yesterday, so I didn't get it till Sunday night. So I sent it to you right away, so I don't know if anybody's going. I did send it to Kathy Clark, who's been a long-time advocate for that, so hopefully she's going. I don't know, but that was pretty short notice. But if I hear anything about it, I will let you know. Did you all get that from me, I hope?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, is there any public comment? Hearing none?
Wait, can I go back to announcements?
Yes. Oh, you have one?
Unrelated to the seniors,
Okay,
but
all right,
people
great.
might be interested.
All right, good.
Tomorrow in the Meadow Farm, they're doing sheep shearing, not sheep shearing,
Alpaca sharing.
from 9 to 12, if anybody's interested or want to bring their grandkids or whatever.
Oh, cool. Oh, and I've been remiss, we have a guest. We have Jack Rabbit, and he will be presenting later. But I'm sure everybody knows him, but I should have introduced him
They really know
earlier.
me as Jane's husband. That's all I know, as Jane's husband.
Okay,
And I have permission to say that.
all right. All right, do we have any board comment?
Yes, I do. I've been doing some thinking about the kiosk. I understand it's been a real pain to put together, and it's very, very difficult. It was very, very difficult to read anyway. When you put out a sheet like this and try to read out in the sun, it didn't work. But we did just get that through ARPA funds, and not to use it at all is kind of a slap to the town after getting it. So I've had plenty of time to lie around and think of what we might do otherwise. I would propose that we make 3 large posters that fit the whole size of the thing. The first one is all the information about the Eagle House. It would say the hours of operation, the phone number, and list all the people who work here and what they do. So all the information about the house itself will be on one poster, which would be very, very easy to read and could be seen anytime during off hours. The second poster be the COA, and the COA would have what they meet for, when their meetings are held, a listing of all the council members, and then at the end, how they can be picked up on YouTube. And the third one be a list of the 5 days of operation and any programs that are always held on that date, such as movies, lunches, cribbage, anything that doesn't change, but somebody can look at that and say, okay, Thursday I can for sure go and see that. And have that big enough so anyone coming by can pretty much get a rundown of what's going on in this place without ever having to change the damn thing. And being able to read it, if you're like me and you can't see a foot in front of your face without magnifying glasses. That's just a proposal, but at least it will be using what's sitting out in front of our place here.
I think that's a great idea.
I think that is a great idea.
Print,
Should have been years ago.
Well,
We just got it, though.
That's a great idea.
yeah.
All right.
Who's gonna take the lead on that?
I can do that, because we can have the posters made just at Staples.
Oh, okay.
You know, we just have to design it and,
Yeah,
yeah.
special bold print, that's the
Yes.
key thing.
Big and bold, clear.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'll fund it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Any other board comment? All right, I have a comment, but it's part of the business, so I won't make it. So minutes, I have a comment about the minutes. I think that we need to come to a way to deal with the minutes getting out to us and the agenda getting out to us. I downloaded the agenda from the website, but I think it's helpful for us to have it ahead of the meeting so we know what's coming. So what do you all think about how we should get the minutes, how we should get the agenda?
I thought we were asked if we wanted to have them mailed or
I-
if we wanted to download, because I know I specifically would prefer to have it mailed.
Right,
Ahead of time,
right.
like it's always been.
Right. I thought that we decided on that too, but somehow that's not happening. So what's happening with that?
We have been extremely short-staffed. We're covering the kitchen, we're covering,
right.
meals have picked up, activities have picked up.
Okay.
We've been straight out, each one of us.
Okay,
So like I said, this time I didn't get the minutes, the completed minutes.
okay,
And I didn't have time to go through the minutes to read them.
okay.
So it's just, like I said, I didn't know if anybody on the board, like I said, even like today, we have Pauline taking the minutes, but I have a volunteer it's her second day at the front desk. So, like I said, if there's a board member that wanted to take the initiative on getting the minutes out to everybody or getting the agenda out to everybody, I do the agenda. So I can, like I said, I do post it with the town in the appropriate time frame. But if there was anybody who wanted to take control over the minutes, that would be greatly appreciated.
I know taking minutes is very intimidating. It's like the minute I hear that, ooh. But I think what Stormwater is found an app that through AI
Yeah,
taking the minutes.
so the town's doing that.
Is the town allowing that?
Well, the town is doing that, but you also have to have man hours, because it does do it, but you have to go back and do it, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's something, you could go in and edit it,
Yeah.
but not have to
Yeah.
write them. I think one of us,
Easier to
weenies that
Yeah.
aren't good at that could possibly do that.
Yeah, edit it.
Yeah.
All right, how do
I
we,
know we have a license for it, I don't know what the license is or how many available spots are, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming we can just share the login with you guys.
Yeah, because
We can check.
I think it's my husband's on Stormwater, and he was very impressed that the AI was doing the minutes, because he hates doing the minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, we can look into that, I can make a note of that.
Because that would help, it would alleviate the intimidation of us who aren't doing this kind of thing, and it would free up
Yeah.
someone you have to have sitting here.
okay, we'd still have to have somebody who looked at it after AI did it. So, well, let's look into it and find out for next time. I can, when the agenda's posted, I can email it to you all, so at least you have it.
Could I make a comment about the minutes? There were a couple things, first of all, that I couldn't hear. It was probably my computer. So I had left out a couple of things that are current business. That
Okay.
I was, hoping that, someone could kind of look at it. So I realize that does obviously have to be filled in.
Okay, so let's do that. Current business, our director reported that the town's FY '26 senior center budget, we're losing a part-time outreach coordinator and 2 KitchenAids program budget. Blank,
Judy's serenaded us.
it's all right,
Never bring the phone.
all right. Programs budget, that you would be able to answer that.
Yeah.
Potential spam.
That's my
Well-
favorite friend.
Two things. One is, as far as the agenda, I can send that to all board members when I send it to the town hall. That's not a problem.
Okay.
So agenda's all set. And then as far as the minutes, it says we're losing a part-time outreach coordinator and 2 KitchenAids. That's not true. Our 2 KitchenAids are in the town budget now. So we were paying them out of a formula grant. We're now paying them up from the town's budget. So 2 KitchenAids are in the town budget, and we did lose a part-time outreach coordinator.
So 2 KitchenAids are now in town budget.
Yep. And the meal site manager position was part-time, is now full-time in the town budget. And our program's budget did increase from $5,000 to $3,000.
Okay.
3,000?
Yeah. So we lost a part-time outreach coordinator, but we gained in the town budget our 2 kitchen aides.
Okay.
So like I said, they're now in the town budget. And then our meal site manager was part-time, is now full-time. And our programs budget was increased by $3,000. We did very well. We did.
Yeah, I think it was like
Yeah.
almost 30% increase.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Okay. Are there any other changes to the minutes that anybody noticed we should make? Well, you probably just got them.
And Deb, I just would like to thank everybody at town meeting for approving this budget. It just shows that they care about the seniors in town. And, you know,
Yeah.
we're advocating for them, and I'm very grateful for that.
That was a marathon, to say the least.
Could have been worse, I've heard.
Yeah, it was disappointing, but that's okay. All right. Did anybody actually have a chance to look at these before this morning? You did? Okay. All right. How, do we feel comfortable about approving them?
Barbara, did I spell your name wrong? Is it Ian?
Coulombe.
Okay. Just understand.
There's an E at the end.
Do we want to put Mr. Sanderson as 101?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Sanderson's 101.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't want to have to explain the whole thing. It was very interesting.
Yep.
All right. Anything else? All right, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
So moved.
A second?
Second?
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we'll get amended minutes. All right, thank you, Jane, for doing that. Appreciate it. Okay. I know that must have been tough trying to listen to it. All right, new business. Recap of the town meeting. The flooring and parking lot plan were approved. So we're going to get new floors. And we got, I think it was $32,000, was it, for the parking lot? Study. So we may actually get a parking lot. At least we'll get plans for a parking lot, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we've heard that for a very long time,
Pay
but,
a lot of money for plants and it goes to waste.
but
2 years.
at least it was approved, so that's step one. Okay, we have an esteemed guest, Jack Rabbit, and he's going to give us an update on some tax situations.
Okay. First of all, thank you. It's always a pleasure to come before this austere group. And just as a quick announcement, in case you hadn't heard, I will be stepping away from the Board of Assessors. And essentially, I'm going to try and refocus a little bit, or continue the focus. I should say this. First of all, when I first get on the Board of Assessors, this is back when the dark days, when taxes had gone nuts and things like that. And a lone light came out of the audience. And her point was that, look, we need some help. We don't really have the ability to influence what happens and understand what happened. And that left a big impression with me, it really did. And if you notice that in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of focus from a tax perspective with regard to the different changes in the 41 series. We've lowered the eligibility age such that more seniors can participate. We've also increased the reimbursements as well. And there were a number of other programs that the town really didn't know about, but they existed. And my favorite was the deferral program. I'm very pleased to announce that we have now initiated that. We actually have the first family going through the deferral program. What I really like about it is it's causing an awareness of the circuit breaker, and it's easy money. It really is. And you file a circuit breaker, you get $1,500 back from the state, and then the deferral program, because of the circuit breaker, has changed the hurdles that you'd have to go through in terms of financially. So all of a sudden, a lot more people, your home could be worth $1 million. You can earn up to, I'll say, $75,000 and still qualify for the deferral. And the deferral simply means that you don't pay your taxes until you leave your residence or you leave our earthly plane, death and taxes kind of thing. So there we go. Yeah, we're not in a hurry for that part. But the fact of it is, it's pretty substantial. And if you look at your taxes over a quarter, it's good. So what we're also doing as part of that is we're initiating a tax deferral program. And it's still got some pieces that, even though I'm stepping off, I'm not really totally stepping off. Right, Jane? Don't hit me. But essentially, it's to work. There's some logistical pieces in terms of how it flows through the town that still need to be a little bit ironed out. And people are going to say, is this taking money away from the town? Technically, no. The assets are still coming into the town. What's happening is you're then making an agreement with the town where essentially we place a lien every year on what you would not decide not to pay. Some people don't pay or pay part of it, depending on how they want to do it. Whatever that number is, it goes into our system, it gets captured and recorded, and there's all sorts of 4 levels of other transactions that are determined by the state in terms of what we'll be doing. In this, every year you have to reapply every year. And that's hopefully, some folks, it's an extra $500 a month, and then you throw the circuit breaker on top of that, and that could throw another $100 in there. So that's going to be really helpful. You can deduct the taxes because theoretically you are paying the taxes if you do the deduction. So it's a win-win all the way around. The hurdle that we're going through right now is that if you still have a mortgage, we have to go back and work with the banks. And actually, you have to be the front person and to say, okay, we're willing to take that second position. And the banks aren't too... I know of a number of towns that have success with the banks. We're trying to do the same thing. We're talking to VPs in corporate about urging them to move in that direction because they have first position, and now the state requires that we have second. So that's the progress that's going on. Hopefully, we get this bundled up. I'm running out of time. I think I got 4 days left before they vote me out, or I'm not vote, or what? I'm out. I'm out. And so, yeah, we got an agreement on the other side. I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm going to try and act as a liaison with the Board of Assessors as well as our Council on Aging. So stay tuned on that one. We have another bill that's coming down the pike, and I'm not ready to really talk about all the details yet because it's a little early, you think, Caesar?
Sure.
Yeah. Nothing's agreed yet. So I won't talk about it, but we will have something, and I want to point out that this character over in the corner, we've also got her as Pauline as a reference point. I gotta be clear, I gotta use names, I guess, Pauline. And essentially, she will be available to answer some of the questions, as well as I will be available to answer the question. In fact, I've already had another family come and make contact and asking all sorts of questions for that. So I will attempt to stay abreast of what's going on in the Council on Aging and the laws. And Caesar, if I could officially ask, keep my email address. Don't make, but I know,
I can ask.
if you can ask,
I
yeah.
don't control the email accounts, but we'll see.
Okay, yeah, and
Well, if you're on the Council on Aging, you would keep it anyway.
I would keep it, yeah, but there's a lag. I'm out on Friday.
No, but you have to have the election first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying the election even here, but I mean, there's a lag there. So I'm gonna.
You're gonna have it.
If I can, well, either case, it's clearly up to you folks, but, and I would love to help. In either case, I will continue to help, even if I'm not formally invited in or something, which is okay. So that's where we are. You know, you've even got cost of living in there now that we didn't have before, so that we could stay abreast and make sure our seniors stay abreast of whatever comes at us. And it's a scary time. And it's a scary time for a lot of folks in town. And so whatever we can do to try and help, that's what we want to do. So that's
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it. And we're glad you're wanting to be part of this team.
I would absolutely love to, but I understand that I have to wait my turn. And Jim, can't wait to meet. Jane tells me all sorts of things, good things about you. And Pete, everybody knows Pete. We love Pete.
And he let me borrow his bucket too.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, I received a letter from Matthew Brenner, who's head of the planning board, and I'd like to read it to you. It went to Deborah as well. I was just on a lunch and learn call with the MRPC discussing the shifting nature of federal funds at this time. Kristen O'Brien, director of the Shirley Council on Aging, mentioned that their federal Meals on Wheels funding was recently cut. I wanted to put this on your radar in case it is the start of an emerging pattern. I wish I had more info to share, but thought this could be relevant info for you. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that. We have to be very careful about funding. So I appreciate that Matt sent that. So I sent him a thank you for giving us the heads up.
How much, I'm just curious, how much federal funding do we get for Meals on Wheels?
We don't get any funding. So basically, the meals are delivered to us, and there's a certain criteria that you have to meet in order to get the meals. Like I said, there are some, so the criteria is homeless, fragile, kind of thing like that. But if you go through Aging Services, is funded differently, they have a lot of people that are on service as well. So, but we've seen nothing come down as far as anything. And like I said, as far as Lunenburg, we'll continue to feed who we need to feed, and we'll make it happen. Like I said, but we've seen no indications of any cuts of any kind.
Well, that's good at least,
Yeah.
concerning, but
Yeah.
at least it hasn't impacted us yet.
And we have maybe 20 people right now, so it's not a huge amount either. So, yeah, we're fine.
But I like how other boards are
Look out for
letting
each other.
us, paying attention and looking out for us, so that's really helpful. I just wanted to pass that along. Okay, the next item is, and I left it out, fiscal year 27 budget. And you'd been asked to supply some information on that at this
So,
point?
yeah, so FY '27, we had talked about that at the last meeting as well. So basically, my two main pushes for that next budget will be to have a program coordinator, someone specifically designated to do the newsletter, to set up, to take down, to schedule trips, to schedule programs, to, bring in some new innovative ideas. And so that was one of them. And then the other was just a change in job description, because basically The outreach position covers more than the outreach position. So I'd like to change that title to Assistant Director / Outreach, or Outreach would come under Assistant Director. I don't know exactly how that's worded, but those are the two things that we are mainly looking for, and that's staffing. And like I said, everything else I think is going okay. Like I said, we have our new fully functional commercial kitchen, and we're able to do that. We have our meal site manager full-time, so we'll be able to increase those programs. And we're looking to actually increase that as programs too. So not only will they be making a meal, but they can also put on a program. One of the ones that I'd like them to do is, it's Cooking for One, a class for people that cook for one. We've had, in the past, a lot of men whose wives had passed, and they're like, I'm having crackers and cheese for supper. So this class that we had done previously, they come and they get taught how to make a meal, and they go home with the bag of ingredients to make it themselves. So it was great, a great program. I'd like to bring that here and have our meal site manager do that. But the meal site manager can also do other programs as far as eating healthy with diabetes, eating healthy, heart healthy. So like I said, now that we have a full-time, or as of July 1st, when we have a full-time meal site manager, these programs can be added to. Also too, it's going to take some off of like Michelle at the front desk, because she's doing the Meals on Wheels, printing those out. She's setting up different things so that the meal site manager will take that, so it'll take some off of her plate as well. And like I said, that's, other than maybe putting in a line for a meal budget, because like I said, right now, the seniors pay $5 for their lunch, and the groceries, we try to even it out. So whatever we're making, we're hoping that $5 per person covers, and it doesn't always, but sometimes it does, and we have a little extra, so it seems to be working out right now. But it'd be nice to have an account that has a little buffer, so if we have a nicer meal or it's more expensive, we're not worried about making a less expensive meal on another day to offset it. So that's about it for 27.
So the elevator's not in there?
Oh, the elevator? Oh, yeah, that's, we have to do a study, get a study for that. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Capital plan.
Yeah,
Yep. So
Yeah.
that's in there?
yes,
Okay,
yes. So we
great.
would
Okay.
definitely have to have a study done structurally,
Yep,
because it's going to take place in the old section.
right.
So we have to see structurally, so that would have to be an architect's study.
So that's in there.
Are
Yes.
you gonna put that into the capital plan this year?
In the not,
Or
Yeah, it's the capital.
when does your capital plan go in?
August.
August, yes.
So
Yes.
that will be in there.
August capital plan, yes.
And they'll be through Chris Ruth.
Okay.
Because it's a facility, so.
Right.
Chris would put the request forward.
And Chris and I have talked about it.
Okay,
And then I'll send them an email, so then they know this is important.
Yeah.
The capital plan members. I'll keep this in the loop.
all right, great. Because I'm understanding that we seriously need more space. All right,
Yeah. Before they kill each other.
okay. Well, it's nice to know that we have so many people using our facility. That's great.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
I mean, when you presented your numbers to the FinCom, I think the numbers were like, I think we were serving about 45% of the
Lunenburg resident.
Lunenburg population over the age of 60.
Yeah.
That's no small potatoes.
No.
you know? It's like, it's a big number. It's as many, I think it was like 1245.
Yeah.
And, so you have an idea, our school district's 1,500 kids. So we are, their service is different than our services. But it is a lot of movement that it takes to have, to be engaged with people, that many people, for a staff of 3 full-time. That's extremely efficient, so it's amazing to me, but that is the service that we're doing.
right.
And there's many different things.
Right.
Some people like the exercise, some people like the crafts, some people like the food, some people, so there's a lot of different, kind of like being back at high school, you have kids that play band, you know, may not be working out in the gym, and this one may be doing this, and this one doing that. Not everybody likes the same stuff.
Well,
Right.
the thing I've thought about a lot lately, since I've lived through the 3 decades, is that the 60s people are still active, working. Some of them still have parents, and they like the activities. They used to have a walking club here, you know, all sorts of things they still do. And then in the 70s, most of those people are retired, but they're more into crafts and interesting things to do here. And then the 80s people, who mostly become widows or widowers, come here as a sanctuary. It's a place just to come and be with other people their age to remember things in the past. And so we're really, in my way of thinking, we're a clubhouse, a fraternity, and a sanctuary all at the same time. And so you have to deal with 3 different groups. You can't just say seniors, because seniors means 50 to 100.
Right,
And somebody that's 50 and 100 probably don't play together.
right.
So we're really, it's a diverse group, grouped under one word, but it's not the same. Just like in school, freshmen and seniors don't hang out.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. But it is remarkable how many people, one way or the other, we are service, you know,
Yeah.
providing a service to. And, you know, so you need this broad offerings of services and programs. And, you know, what's remarkable to me too is I know question of, you know, how long will people live, how well they're gonna live, is related to, you know, do you have contact outside of your world? So to think that, you know, if you live in Lunenburg, chances are 40% of people or more will, you know, getting in touch with you. And then, you know, not everyone's in a place that they need our services yet.
Yeah.
So it's pretty remarkable. So I'm pretty proud of what we have here.
And I love the people that come for meals, because it's such a social time to get together, but it's also nutritional. It's, you know, it's good for all of you, you know, it's just having that socialization, but having a nutritional meal, and just having fun together.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Back to programs. Did you ever try to do your Dull Men's Club, which sounded
I
so
have not yet,
interesting?
I have not yet, but I'm gonna put that right on here.
Yeah, that just really appealed to me.
I might have to see if Jack Rabbit would lead it for me.
He really does, I know that.
Well, when you hear what it is, it's not dull.
No, it's
It's
not.
fun. I was pretty excited about when I heard it.
Okay, all right.
It'll be good.
So on to nomination of officers for fiscal year '26. Do I hear any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Deb and Jane for another year, not out of nepotism, but of what I've seen.
Yeah, I beat him up.
See, you're not the only one.
I can tell you, folks, my dad was my senior English teacher, and I had my 4 kids as senior English students. And we worked twice as hard because of that. There was no nepotism. I didn't get an A without busting myself. I think that what I've seen this last couple of years is that these two have worked incredibly well together. They get along, they talk all the time. And sometimes they'll say, Deb, don't go up to senior center today. She says, it's my job. She takes this very seriously, creatively, and pleasantly. And so I'd like to nominate them for another year.
Second?
Do I hear any other nominations? Okay, so is there any discussion? All right.
Second, everything Keith said.
Okay. So what happens now is this slate comes forward for vote at the next meeting.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on. We always have, well, no, always, we usually have an end-of-year party at our last meeting of the fiscal year. So is everyone interested in doing that? Okay, all right. So, does anybody want to take charge of the goodies? All right. Okay. Elena, we can sign up with Elena after the meeting. That would be great. Everybody sign up with Elena, what you want to bring for that. That'd be super. All right. Current,
Any dietary restriction for the group?
No, that I know of.
Not that we know.
Try to make something that's caloric and delicious, but doesn't make you gain weight.
Oh, okay. Cucumbers.
If you can come up with something like that, that would be awesome. All right. I want to just do a recap of the Boston Post Cane and Century Club celebration. I know a few of you were here. Charlie Sanderson was truly amazing. I hope if I ever reach 101 that I have the spunk that he has. He didn't have good hearing, but it did not matter. He was incredible. I know Elena and Caesar were here, and he was incredible. It was one of the highlights of the year, I think. He was incredible. He wanted to walk off with the cane, and I think if it hadn't been locked down, he wanted Deborah to bring it to him so that he could have it, and I think he would have absconded with it if it had been possible. But he was absolutely delightful, and his granddaughter gave a wonderful tribute to him, and we had a lot of dignitaries here, and it was truly, I think, one of the highlights of the year. So hats off to Charlie. I was trying to get his granddaughter and him to do a little interview at his home, and that hasn't materialized yet, which is why you haven't seen the video of it yet. I'm going to reach out to her one more time because she said she was going to browbeat him into doing an interview at his home. He's not shy, so I don't think that's a problem. I think it's just trying to get a date, but when it comes, I will let you know because you really should watch it. He's quite amazing.
You gave a history of the Boston Cane work for the group.
Yes.
And I was wondering, when it first was initiated, did the cane actually go to the person?
Oh, sure, oh, sure.
Okay, so,
That's one of the reasons why so many got lost. The original plan was they only held it though, it belongs to the selectmen, but they hold it until they pass. And the problem was, a lot of the elders moved, or we went to live somewhere else, or put it aside. Not all the people that are 100 are good memories or whatever. So for probably the first 50, 60 years, they were always distributed. And at this point, there was 535 left, so there's 165 have been lost. The town of Dracut, where my son lives, just found theirs at a yard sale.
Oh, my God.
Recovered it at a yard sale.
Yeah, there was
'Cause
one.
it has a gold top, 14 karat gold, so it's worth something.
Yeah, there was one on eBay they found too.
And now there's a website, bostonpostcane.com, where you can check out the status of any town's cane.
So
It's quite a big deal.
Sue had a folder that Pauline gave to Pete, and we're going to try, because he has to be pretty immobile for a while. We're going to try to put some information out there to update Lunenburg's. We got some information from the Historical Society. There's a gap. There's some gaps there, but we're going to try to put out everything we know about and update Lunenburg's.
Now, the problem with Lunenburg is the first town reports were simply tax reports. So I went back and looked at the town reports back 1909 to 1930 or so, and there's nothing about town information in there other than taxes. It's not until recently that all the other stuff has come in. And so the only list we have out here starts in 1969, and the Historical Society has found me 4 other ones prior to that. But the task is to see if we can find them all.
Anybody out in television land who knows, who might have had the Boston Post cane at some point, please let any of us know so we can update our website.
Next time you go to a yard sale.
All right, so we don't have any financial reports, not till next month. So we talked last time about a senior advisory team for a task force for healthcare. I don't know if any of you have talked to any of your friends, neighbors, people in the healthcare business. I talked to one person, and I think that she thinks it's a great idea and is willing to help out. She's not retired yet, so when she retires, she will help us out. Has anybody else talked to anyone about doing this?
Since, I have an elderly mother, I have a number of agencies that have been very helpful. coordinating care for my mother and just giving guidance. So I've got them here, websites, telephone numbers, and if we put something together, maybe we can include these.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
So this would be above and beyond what the outreach coordinator does?
Yeah, just to help her, because I'm sure Pauline is completely overwhelmed with people. And,
I was just curious.
yeah, no, I think that, I mean, having been in the trenches myself and having reached roadblocks and going outside to give a primal scream occasionally, I think that probably, especially people that are just by themselves, just probably give up because it's just so
Because they don't
hard.
have someone to help them.
Right, and
My
I'm,
mom had not had me, she wouldn't have.
right, and I'm sure there, you know, Pauline could do this 24/7 and so,
They would kind of be an advisory board for her.
right, and help out with Pauline and just,
Yeah, the role would be to provide general information.
Right.
For the whole population, rather than on a case specific.
right, right.
Maybe Pauline would work on.
And Pauline does have a resource guide.
Yes,
For
she put
the-
together, she put together a
Right.
great guide.
Yeah.
But this is, you know, just so people know there's somebody there that would, I think sometimes it just is, you want to talk to somebody.
Well, I already indicated I'd be willing to work on that advisory group.
That's great, thank you. So we're here, folks, if you want to scream. All right, so let's talk about doing something a little more formal.
Yeah, I'd be willing to help Pauline too. I'm not a nurse, but I worked in medical records for 25 years, so I know the HIPAA laws and that kind of stuff. Plus all the experience of dealing with my mom.
Awesome.
Okay, do we have any updates on the local hospital services? I've been hearing rumors about Groton and some other
So
things.
they had a public hearing.
Yes.
Last week, wasn't through the state, it was just UMass Memorial doing sort of an informational hearing. It was on Tuesday and I wasn't available, I didn't go, I didn't hear about it, but I know that they're having those public outreach sessions now for the satellite emergency facility. Other than that, I don't really know too much about, you know, the timeline for it, but I could probably look into it and see more.
That would be great, thank
And
you.
if you're on Margaret Scarsdale email list, she mentions, I know she mentioned this in her last email I got, which was like within the last week or two.
Yeah, I haven't heard any updates,
No, not
Yeah,
really.
I haven't either.
but I want to keep this on our radar, because if there's anything we can do to write or
When I
attend.
researched it, you know, they still have to go through a couple of planning boards to even get approval. So
Right,
they're trying to generate support from the masses, but they still have to go through the Groton
right, right,
Council, I'm not sure exactly which board, and the state.
right.
So it's at least, it wouldn't be sooner than the end of 2026.
Right.
So
But-
one thing I did find, we anticipate that construction will be completed by October 2026, and the SEF will be ready for a survey, I don't know what that means, mid-November 2026.
So that would be
So-
accreditation to get it
Yeah,
certified.
probably, yeah.
But if there's any, if at any point they're looking for public support, we want to be on top of that, for sure.
Because when I first got that email about the public hearing, I thought that's what it was,
Right.
right? When it goes to the state, but it wasn't, it was just sort of an
Okay.
informational thing. So that's what I'm really on the lookout for now, is when the state actually holds its public hearings.
Okay, all right, well, that's why it's going to stay on here.
Yes.
And when I,
So-
Oh, I will, yes.
when I was at the thing for the Century Club, Sanderson, I was sitting next to Margaret, and one of the things that week, I think she was going to have that meeting, and it was in Groton. And what they were worried about was they have a piece of land in Groton,
Right,
but it's not really central to all the people, you know, they're worried that people in other parts of the area wouldn't like it being in Groton because it's too far from them, so. So I don't know what the outcome of that meeting was. Same
Yeah.
thing.
Okay. All right, we're going to skip number 6, the update on master plan. Well, all right, I'll just say that. Update on master plan, there is none.
You guys had a really interesting meeting the last week.
We don't have another meeting scheduled.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. Okay.
I,
So I talked to the chair briefly.
Okay.
I just told him that I was looking out for the next meeting.
Yeah.
So since it hasn't been scheduled, we try to get it scheduled, because I wanna kinda maybe go and
yeah.
help if possible.
Yeah,
at this
well,
point,
we
so-
don't have another meeting yet.
Yeah.
But there's another issue here that we're going to talk. Update on the 300th anniversary. We had a very productive meeting. I want to pass along one piece of information. Everybody wants to have a bonfire. Everybody wants to have a bonfire. And I want to just pass along, we had a meeting, Pete and Bill Tyler and I and the fire chief
Jim Latanzi.
and Jim Latanzi had a meeting. And Jim has stepped up and offered his tree farm for a place for the bonfire. And it's a tough sell because all the fire folks are unionized and it's really difficult. And Jim had an answer for everything. And he knows a lot of people in Fitchburg, and he's done a lot of events, and he has a water source there. And so it looks like we're going to be able to have, this is not set in stone, but it does look like we're going to be able to have a bonfire at his place for the 300th. So, yes, so things are looking up. There's nothing set in stone, but that wall that we've been hitting, it looks like we're going to be able to get over that.
Now,
So,
many of you must remember the bonfire.
Yes.
It wasn't always just the anniversary, it was almost every summer.
Yeah.
But the difference was, in those days, the firemen were volunteers, and they're mostly from Lunenburg. And so they did it gratis. And one of them, we figured there were 5,000 people there. It was the biggest gathering in the history of the town. Everybody wants to see something burn up. So we're trying to work out something with Jim.
with Jim, and he's been unbelievable. He's stepped right up, and so it looks like that might happen. That's the number one request from people. That's what they want to see. So it looks like we've made some steps in that direction, so that's good. Okay, so number 7 is the master plan, the town green on Memorial Drive. There is a member of the master plan committee who is pushing to put a green space, permanent green space down Memorial Drive, and I am bringing this forward to you because I would like to have your opinion and your support that this is not a good idea for the next
Like
class.
this street?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, turning Memorial Drive.
turning Memorial
Memorial
Drive
Drive
into
Wells Kennedy Park.
a green space.
And how do we get here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. And
For public safety, like EMS.
public safety, I did
A lot of concerns.
I did send a letter an email to the fire chief and the police chief expressing my concern. The fire chief said, I can't respond to you without an exact plan. I said, the exact plan is to turn Memorial Drive into green space, and then I didn't hear anything back. But I was hoping to get maybe your concerns. I wrote to Michelle
I know.
asking for her concern. I didn't hear back, but in her defense, it was the 6th grader, are you smarter than a 5th grader, or whatever it was, so she didn't really have time. But I would like unless you disagree, I would like to have permission to say that the COA is not in favor of this.
Deb, can I add to that, the fact that we have a parking lot study going on right now?
Well, yes, I mean, yes, I already
Okay.
indicated that we have $32,000 in next year's budget for a parking
Right.
lot study. But I would like, if it's okay, I would like to say that the COA, hopefully unanimously, is not in support of this.
Yeah.
Should we make a motion motion right now?
Yes, can you do that, please, for me?
I'd like to move that we are not in favor of making the Memorial Drive a green space
Okay, do it.
because of the impact to our senior center, our teen center. And
Thank you. Okay, is there any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you very much. I will bring that to the next meeting. All right. I appreciate your support because I have been saying strongly that I do not advocate this, and somehow it has ended up on the master plan as an item for discussion. Yeah. All right, we'll move on before I fume some more. All right, the next item is the Lula lift and the elevator and the space issues. So that is on,
Chris Ruth for the capital plan for August.
okay. So that would solve some space issues for some of your classes? and-
Yes, yeah, it would give us, like I said, another space for, like I said, there's a lot of conflicts going on right now as far as, like, example, last week Stitch and Chat was in the conference room, but the conference room is dark and too small. So, like I said, it would give us another a bigger room that we could fit a group of people in for, and even as far as bringing back bereavement support or things like that we have at the library. We could bring them back here, because it's good to have the people come here and get the information as it comes out.
Yeah, I think it'd be really good to bring bereavement back. They really need to be here.
Yeah,
It's always been a shame we can't use the second floor, which is perfectly
right. Yeah, you
lot of
got
space.
3 good rooms up there.
Okay. All right. Sanford Seniors, I just want to leave this on here because
Yeah.
when that happens, we need to be part of that discussion. I don't know whether that,
The town manager is scheduling a meeting
Okay.
between the DPW, us, and the fire department.
okay,
So as soon as that happens,
okay,
yeah.
all right. On to you.
So, I just showed your chair this morning, our updated kitchen. So, it is done. It is done. So, like I said, the cast iron pipe was fixed. We have all stainless in there. The weld that was bad on the sink has been repaired. We now have a grease trap. We have a new circuit box, so we can actually plug in everything at the same time. It is just a fully functioning commercial 3-bay sink, heater proofer. It is amazing, and we're having a great time making our meals in there. Very simplified, and it's very just easy to use, easy to clean. Brand new kitchen, so we're very, very happy about that. So, like I said, I encourage everybody, stop by, have a meal. Like I said, it's been a lot of fun working in the kitchen, in the new kitchen. The only other thing that I have is we do have the June newsletters have been posted online. They should be here within a week, but we do have some things coming up. We started a new Crafts with Karen, and it's Karen Menard, and she's doing a craft every month, which is great. This coming month, they're doing alcohol ink on coasters to make on tiles to make coasters. So that's wonderful. This past month, we just had floral arrangement with Kathy Clark from Lunenburg Florists, so they did the floral arrangement. So we're doing a lot more craft items and craft classes. Also, too, our summer concerts will start in June. So once a month, we'll have a concert outside in the evening, on a Wednesday evening. So the first one is going to be June 18th, and it's Creek Alley. So come and enjoy some of the songs of the 60s here with us. And then we do have a program on the 13th, which the Historical Society is putting on. And I'm blanking on the man's name. Aaron, he was a pewterer. I'm looking at you for help here.
I'm not that old.
So it's a presentation, there's information on our Facebook page and in the newsletter. So it's a gentleman who was a pewterer, And it's going to be on that, so we're looking forward to that. Yeah, and as always, we do have, a lot of the regulars that we enjoy. Our Veterans Breakfast is always the second Friday of the month, which is always well-attended. Coffee with the Chief is the third Friday of every month, and the last Friday of every month is the Memory Cafe. And I urge you to attend. If you have somebody who has memory issues or dementia or anything, we have entertainment, we have fun things going on. It's like a little brunch happening, and it's a good time to get out in a nice, safe, welcoming environment and enjoy some time. So that's about that, and we do have, in July, we have the Gloucester Harbor Cruise. So I believe it's July 23rd, so we'll get taking the bus down. We have joined with Townsend, I believe, on that one, and we'll be going down to Gloucester, doing the harbor cruise and having a lobster buffet.
Wow.
So,
Okay,
What's the cost
Deb.
of that?
$195.
Debbie, you ever thought, or I've thought at least, why don't we have our town concerts here? Where they are now at Passios, you have to sit across the road. You can't see them because there's pillars in the way, the lights are bad. And this would be a so much better place to have the town concerts. It'd be a
Yeah.
perfect
I
spot.
thought they approached them last year and they didn't want to move.
Steve Ashambo isn't in favor of it. I don't know why, but I would think.
Yeah.
And these are towns, I'm unaware of this, they're town-sponsored?
Yeah, it's a town-sponsored thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
I-
6 weeks, every Monday night.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I know they reached out and he said he didn't want to move.
yeah, he didn't want to move.
I remember that.
I don't know why, because this is so much better place
Yeah,
to watch.
he didn't want to move them.
The sound is better here.
Well, we could ask him again before they start.
Yeah, we'll try again.
The town funds that though, right?
Yes.
Caesar?
Yeah, it's in the budget.
Yeah.
Ask him again.
Maybe you guys could put a little pressure on them?
have them come for a
And you
tour.
guys are friends, and you know this is getting recorded, right?
All right,
You'll hear it now.
Elena has decided that she doesn't want to be our liaison anymore to the Eagle House supporters. And obviously Barbara's doing a wonderful job being here, but if anybody wants, from the committee would like to.
I'll do that.
You want to? Okay, so Kathy will be our new liaison. So do we have a report from what's going on?
Quick few things.
Great.
Decided on our logo, so our logo is out
Oh.
on our Facebook page, on our little newsletters, on a brochure. So we finally got that done. We also got the Venmo, so it's much easier, so.
Great.
You can still pay by check, by cash, and now Venmo, so it helps a lot more people. And as Pauline and Deb have said, we have gotten lots and lots of mail because we did put out our donation letter on April 30th. So if you haven't got one, I have some forms. It's really appreciated, but it looks like we're doing pretty good on that.
That's
getting things
great.
out. So
That's great.
We're always trying to add to the list, so if you have anybody that you know isn't on the list or has moved to the town, please let us know, we'll add them to our list.
I just want to add, I went online and used the Venmo donation. It was so easy.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's great. That's great.
Great improvement.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Great job.
Is this form available, that we can probably put the town hall by the town clerk's office? She has different papers there.
If you want to take one, that's fine.
I was gonna, maybe a few, or
absolutely.
maybe I can ask to make copies. Do we have a copy maker? Yeah.
Well, I have some here.
Okay, yeah. But we can put some there at the head,
Sure.
what I'm talking about.
Sure, yes.
Maybe even the library, they have,
Yep.
maybe I'll take a few and I'll distribute it around town, how's that?
All right.
Places, okay. Because I think, the more you get the word out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, these QR codes are so helpful.
Oh, I know, I love them.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for all you are doing. This is wonderful. Okay, any notes or communications? All right, any board comment?
I
Quick
one
question.
comment. Last week, we had to move our Qigong class to the pavilion, which was lovely. And while I was there, I noticed there are really no flowers, in the back area. And I'm wondering about the idea of asking the local garden centers to donate a couple of plants to spruce it up.
That's a great idea. I think Helen had some
I know, she
plans
has
for
plans.
that. I know, so that's where the ball was dropped, and she does usually does such a great job, but I think that's a wonderful idea, because that would take the pressure off her as well.
All right, so.
So,
if you want,
yes.
I'll draft something and ask for donations.
That would be great.
Great.
That's a wonderful idea,
Okay.
because I'm sure she's feeling the pressure of, she usually did so much out there. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Just so you're aware too, the 2 planters that are out in the front by those doors, the 2 metal ones, the Friendly Seniors are buying hanging plants for those 2 there.
That'd be good.
Oh, that's great.
My question is, do you want to ask for hanging plants, which you could put off the front of the pavilion, or do you want them on a stand?
I would hang. Stands get knocked over.
I would say anything we could get. How would you like to donate?
To water them?
Yeah,
That would be the thing we have to do in the region.
I do reach them.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just see what I can get.
yeah. That would be my suggestion.
I have a question.
Sure.
Since Venmo is working so great for Eagle House supporters, I wanted to sign up for a class, but you couldn't sign up unless you came in and paid. But if you could do Venmo, does the town allow Venmo?
That's a good question.
Oh, I have an
Because-
idea, if I may. So if we put these paid programs using the Parks and Rec website, it does take payments. So the Parks and Rec department does have a website that they use for their programs.
So
Yeah.
that must mean the town allows it.
But it's
So-
not
but-
like Venmo though.
No.
right?
Well, I mean, it's the way the town will take payment. So, I mean, the
No, I'm
Venmo, the Venmo, I'm not sure. the
Well,
town
it doesn't
will allow.
have to be Venmo. If there's a
Right.
way that you can do it
Digitally,
Yes,
some
yes.
Yeah.
digitally,
But it's linked to an account.
Yeah, but that can be
But
easily
this doesn't
transferred.
have to come here.
Yeah, but that doesn't, that can be transferred. Like we have done, they have done.
Yeah, we should have our own.
but we could get our
We
own.
could get our own.
If we could get our own, and then it would automatically go under your budget, or
Yeah, let's find
your
out.
pot of money, is that something
Let's
that
find
you
out.
would-
We will.
Let's find out. It's a wonderful idea.
Where does the money go when you collect? Do you have a revolving account?
Oh, well, that's something we're looking at right now.
Okay. It would be the same, like, in this website, it's like Angela manages and she figure out a lot. It's not
Yep.
and you just need to have a login for
Right.
here, and then you can add the programs. And then it's literally run a report and ask as it will transfer the revolving accounts. It's not a big deal.
Would
Yeah.
it confuse the person trying to use
But
it
this was
because
just-
it's under Parks and Rec? That's my
No, we
question.
should get our
We
own.
could set up our own.
We should get our
Yeah.
own.
But this was only, you have to use a credit or debit card in order to do it.
Which is,
No, you can set up both ways. You can set it up that people can sign up, and then they can come and pay here, or you can pay on a credit card.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, we'll look. What, out of curiosity, what's that software that Parks was using?
It's the software that just about every town uses called MyRack, and is cloud-based.
Okay.
And in other towns, multiple departments would use them.
Yeah, so that's what I was wondering, maybe we could just set it up for.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Also,
I'll look into it.
Also, too, there is a program within my senior center program that we use.
Okay.
So people can sign up online, My Active Center, and they can sign up right into my senior center that we use. And there is a component to it that you can pay by credit card. But that
that's
has to
already
be set up.
existing?
It does already exist, but it has to be set up through the town accountant.
oh, okay.
Oh, all right,
So
let's-
it's,
Sounds like something
there
we
is
could
a way to do it.
So it exists, but not
It exists,
utilized.
and we didn't have enough interest to do it previously, but we probably might have it here.
that sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's pretty much probably the same thing.
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Okay, I have a comment. So I don't know if you know, but our major chef has a broken hip. And our staff has been filling in for weeks now, and it probably will be more weeks. And I just want to commend the staff who has stepped up and done all the cooking, and they're amazing with all their other duties. And I just want to give a shout out to Michelle and Pauline and Deb for filling in. They have been incredible.
And no one has gotten sick.
Here.
I would like to add to that, but I spent a couple of days
Yeah.
covering the van
Fill it in.
driver, and I got to see what it was like in here. It was like, there was no stopping to take a breath. Everyone just concentrated. It was impressive.
Well, they're amazing, and we are so lucky to have this staff, so
Right.
thank you.
So
Any-
I also have a couple comments.
Okay.
First, in terms of the Senior Healthcare Advisory Group, when I was struggling to get onto my chart, and I didn't have my IT person there to help me, I am so frustrated with that. Every time I go on, I have to put in a new password. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But I'm wondering if that might be something
Good idea.
that we could have a little
Class?
workshop on.
Yeah.
Sure, that's a great idea.
And then my other comment was on being at Charles Sanderson's event. There was a woman there, they gave him this beautiful quilt.
Yeah. Yes, Quilt of Valor.
And I'm thinking, maybe just spread the word. I mean, this is also for people that, I mean, you would
She
qualify.
came up to me, yeah, technically I do, I've never said, but
Yeah.
whatever. She gave me her business card, so how it works is that we can make nominations. So if we want to recognize someone, a veteran with a quilt of valor, then all we have to do is reach out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you fill out this form.
That's great.
Yeah.
So,
Great. That's good. That's a great idea.
yeah.
All right, so you have her card?
I do, yeah, so,
All
I
right.
know it's in my house
I
somewhere.
know.
So,
You have her card too?
Yes.
Yep.
All right,
yeah, okay, cool.
all right, great.
Before we end too, thank you for recognizing us in the kitchen, but I also want to recognize Ann Penny, who has
Right.
been doing a ton of stuff in the
Right.
kitchen, but also Odette Harvey, Betty Storms, and Joyce Boyce, who have been right along with us, and they have been great, so.
So thank you to them as well.
Yeah.
Since we were doing this, I want to recognize the Hugo House supporters. You guys, this new group has come in a little less than a year ago, and for the longest time, we were concerned here that we were not going to have that group supporting.
Yes.
And you guys just came in and just doing amazing work, and every so often I hear how you're doing, and you're here, but thank you so much.
I couldn't let the money go. It would hurt me too much.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do whatever we can to help.
And they do have a meeting coming up on June 4th at 10:30, and they're in their discussions on fundraising. So if anybody is interested and has any fundraising ideas, please join them at 10:30 on June 4th.
Yes, please, it's open to the public, so. you're more than welcome.
That's great. So June 4th, here.
Yep.
Right, it's the meeting of the Eagle House supporters. If you can join them. See, I like this meeting being recorded for this. It's a good way to get a word out.
Yes.
Any other comments? All right. Thank you all. Do I hear a motion? Oh, before, go see Elena and sign up for our next meeting. Thank you all. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, see you in June.
Bye, Gail.